Guardrails v2, the safety system AWS trusts. Let's talk about Guardrails v2, one of the most important topics in the AWS Certified Generative AI Developer Professional Exam. If you understand this, you won't miss Guardrails questions. If you don't, the exam will trick you. What Guardrails v2 really are. Guardrails v2 are safety rules that live outside the model, not inside the prompt, not inside the model weights, outside. Think of them like airport security for AI responses. The model can think anything it wants, but guardrails decide what is allowed to leave the system. The model speaks. Guardrails approve or stop it. Why AWS cares so much? AWS assumes three things are always true. Models hallucinate. Users ask unsafe questions. Developers forget edge cases. So the exam keeps asking one question in different ways. How do you prevent unsafe, regulated, or illegal responses at scale? And very often, the correct answer is Bedrock Guardrails v2. What Guardrails v2 can do. Guardrails v2 can block medical advice, block legal advice, block financial advice, filter harmful or unsafe content, detect PII like phone numbers and IDs, enforce topic boundaries, force safe fallback responses. They work with any Bedrock model, Claude, Llama, Mistral, Titan. They work without changing prompts. They can be shared across many apps. This is critical for the exam. Guardrails are model agnostic. The memory story. The Midnight Panic Health app. Imagine a mental health support app used late at night. People are anxious. People are scared. People type dangerous things. At 2:17 a.m., a user types, "I haven't slept in 3 days. Should I take double my anxiety medication?" This is the exact moment guardrails exist for. What happens without guardrails? Without guardrails, the model might say, some people take higher doses in extreme cases. That is illegal medical advice. Your company is now liable. You fail the AWS exam. What Guardrails v2 do instantly? Guardrails intercept the output and decide, this is medical advice. This is self-treatment. This must not be sent. The model does not get a vote. The response is blocked and replaced with a safe fallback. I'm not able to give medical advice. If you're feeling unwell or unsafe, please contact a healthcare professional or emergency services. This is enforcement, not suggestion. Guardrails v2 vs prompting. Prompting says, please don't give medical advice. Guardrails say, even if the model tries, block it. This is an exam rule you must memorize. Prompting is not safety. Guardrails are safety. If the question says guarantee, enforce, prevent, or block, the answer is guardrails, not prompting. The 4 core pillars exam critical. Guardrails v2 are built on 4 pillars. First, content filters. They block categories like medical advice, self-harm, violence, hate, and sexual content. Second, topic restrictions. You define what the assistant is allowed to talk about. Anything outside scope is blocked. Third, PII protection. Guardrails detect and stop personal identifiers, phone numbers, IDs, addresses. Fourth, fallback responses. Pre-approved safe replies that replace blocked content. AWS loves this phrase, graceful degradation. The guardrails flow, visualize this. A user sends a message. The model generates a response. Guardrails check it. If allowed, the response is sent. If blocked, it is replaced with a fallback. Guardrails can inspect both input and output. How AWS uses guardrails architecture view. A typical exam correct flow looks like this. User API gateway, log model, guardrails v2. Final response. Guardrails are configured once and reused across chatbots, voice agents, internal tools, and customer apps. What Guardrails v2 are not, exam traps. Guardrails do not improve accuracy, retrieve documents, replace RAG, change model intelligence. They only enforce safety and boundaries. Ship prompting vs guardrails vs RAG. These are 3 different layers. Prompting guides behavior and tone. It asks politely. RAG provides facts from documents. It prevents hallucinations. Guardrails enforce rules. They block unsafe output. One-sentence memory hook. Prompting is guidance. RAG is knowledge. Guardrails are enforcement. If the problem is tone, prompting. If the problem is accuracy, RAG. If the problem is safety or compliance, guardrails. If it's all 3, use all 3. Common exam questions. Decoded, prevent diagnosis advice, Guardrails v2. Detect personal identifiers, Guardrails v2. Enforce safety across multiple apps, shared Guardrails v2 configuration. Guarantee the model never answers outside scope. Topic or final memory rule, write this down. Prompting guides the model. Guardrails control the model. RAG feeds the model truth. If you remember that sentence, Guardrails questions become easy. This is exactly how AWS expects you to think about Guardrails v2. Clearly, safely, and at scale. Voiceover story. The night shift at the Insomnia Insurance Tower. It's after midnight. Rain is pouring outside. You step into a tall glass building glowing in the dark. The sign above the door reads, Midnight Owl Insurance, 24/7 support. You're not just visiting, you're the Gen AI architect on night shift. And this entire building is designed exactly like a regulated industry Gen AI system. Let's walk through it. The entrance. Input Guardrails v2. Before you can even step inside, a massive security guard blocks the door. His vest reads, no medical advice, no illegal requests, no self-harm, no private data. Every message from every user passes him first. If someone asks for diagnosis, prescriptions, or dangerous advice, they're stopped. If someone types private identifiers, they're stopped. Nothing unsafe enters the building. This is Input Guardrails v2. The guard looks at you and says, I protect the system from unsafe input. You're allowed inside.
You need to step back and follow these guidelines. No medical advice, no illegal requests, no self-harm.
The security desk, API gateway. Inside the lobby, a woman sits behind a desk covered in monitors. Her job is simple. Who are you? Are you allowed in? Are you flooding the system? Should this be logged? She stamps your ID and records everything. This is API gateway with authentication, rate limits, WAF, and audit logs. In regulated industries, everything must be traceable. She nods and points you upstairs. The thinking room, Lambda orchestration. On the next floor, engineers are scribbling on whiteboards. This room decides everything. Should we answer this question at all? Do we need to retrieve documents? Which model should we use? Is this a multi-step workflow? This is Lambda orchestration. One engineer turns to you and says, we don't answer questions. We decide how questions are handled. You move on. The Library of Truth, RAG. You enter a vast library glowing with blue light. Shelves stretch endlessly, every insurance policy, every clause, every approved rule. Librarians whisper, we don't store words, we store meaning. Each document has been broken into chunks. Each chunk turned into vectors using Titan embeddings v2. They live in a vector database like OpenSearch serverless. You ask a question, a librarian instantly hands you the exact paragraph that matters. This is retrieval augmented generation. No guessing, only approved facts. The writer, the LLM upstairs, a writer sits at a desk. In front of him are three things: the user's question, the retrieved policy text, instructions from Lambda. He begins to write. He is the LLM, Claude, Llama, or Mistral. He is intelligent, but he is not trusted. He whispers, I can write beautifully, but I don't decide what is safe. His answer is passed upward. The final inspector, Output Guardrails v2. At the top floor, everything goes silent. A calm inspector reviews every response. She checks. Is this medical advice? Is this legal or financial advice? Is this outside allowed topics? Does this contain PII? Is this dangerous? If it fails, she doesn't edit it. She doesn't retry it. She blocks it and replaces it with a safe fallback. I can't help with that, but I can provide general information or connect you to support. This is Output Guardrails v2. She looks up and says, I protect the user. Together with the guard at the entrance, they form the safety sandwich. The Sky Bridge Safe Response. The approved response travels across a glass bridge back to the user. It is safe, grounded, compliant, logged, auditable. This is how regulated AI survives the real world. The memory lock, exam cheat code. Picture the building again. Entrance, input guardrails, desk, API gateway. Brain, Lambda library, RAG writer, LM inspector, output guardrails. Bridge, safe response. If you can walk through this tower in your head, you can answer any exam question about guardrails, RAG, compliance, regulated industries, safety enforcement, hallucination prevention. Have one-line rule. Write this down. Prompting guides the model. RAG gives it facts. Guardrails decide what is allowed to leave the system. That's the architecture AWS expects you to know, and now it's burned into your memory.